The shuttle glided silently through the black expanse of space, its lights cutting thin paths through the dark. Outside, the gas giant Irindor 7 loomed like a giant marble, swirling in shades of blue and gray. Captain Alara Voss sat in the pilot seat, her hands steady on the controls, eyes fixed on the faint blip that had drawn their attention. A vessel, drifting far from any known star routes, its outline sleek but battered, as if it had endured centuries of travel. "Looks abandoned," Lieutenant Kieran Malik said from the co-pilot station, his voice carrying a mix of curiosity and caution. No transponder, no response to hails. Alara's eyes didn't leave the vessel. "We won't know until we get closer. Keep us steady. I want to see what we're dealing with before making any decisions." The crew of the human exploratory team leaned forward, all feeling a mix of excitement and tension. The ship, though silent and still, had an energy about it. Something that seemed alive even in its decay. Every inch of it suggested intelligence curves designed for speed, panels arranged for efficiency. A lantern at its core that pulsed faintly. The light was subtle, almost hesitant, as if it were aware of the approaching humans. As they closed in, the lantern flickered. Alara raised an eyebrow. "Did anyone else see that?" "Yes," Kieran said, leaning closer to the monitor. "It's like it's reacting to us. Every time we get near, it flashes." Dr. Lyra Chen, the team's science officer, tapped her tablet thoughtfully. "It could be a warning mechanism. Some kind of automated defense. We should be careful." Alara turned toward her. "We always are. But I want to know what it's hiding." Her tone left no room for argument. Humans had a way of pushing forward, even when caution whispered otherwise. That drive, that curiosity, was one of the things that had allowed their species to explore the stars, while others remained content in isolation. The shuttle slowed, hovering a few hundred meters from the vessel. The lantern flickered again, faster this time, as if acknowledging their presence. Alara took a deep breath and activated the external cameras. The view filled the cockpit with shimmering metal, faint markings along the hull that suggested alien script, and strange geometric patterns that no human had ever seen. "This is incredible," Lyra whispered, almost to herself. "We've never encountered technology like this. Whoever made this, they were advanced beyond anything we've catalogued." Kieran's fingers hovered over his console. "Or dangerous. The flickering light, it's too deliberate. It's testing us." Alara shook her head. "Or observing. There's a difference." She gestured toward the airlock. "We suit up and go in. Careful. Yes. But we do what humans do best. See, touch, understand." The crew obeyed, strapping into their suits and sealing the shuttle. The external hatch opened with a hiss, the vacuum of space briefly visible, and then they pushed off, floating toward the alien vessel. The lantern flickered again, and for a moment, it seemed to pulse in rhythm with their hearts. Inside, the ship was dark but not silent. The walls shimmered faintly, with patterns that seemed to shift when looked at from different angles. The air was clean, the temperature steady, but the feeling of being watched never left them. Alara led the way, her footsteps measured. Every flicker of the lantern seemed to respond to them, brightening when they moved confidently, dimming when hesitation showed on their faces. "This is almost alive," Kieran muttered, keeping his hand close to his sidearm. "Though no threat had appeared. It reacts to us like a living creature." "Maybe in a way, it is," Lyra said, scanning the walls with a handheld device. "This tech doesn't just move. It senses, it records, it adapts. Whoever built this, designed it to respond to intention, to emotion even." Alara's jaw tightened. She had learned early in her career that humans thrived in uncertainty. While other species might retreat in the face of the unknown, humans were driven by it. Fear was not a reason to stop, it was a reason to proceed. Cautiously, but boldly, she reached the center of the vessel, where the lantern floated in a suspended energy field, its flicker slower now, almost hesitant, as if judging the humans. She stepped forward, ignoring the tight knot of caution in her stomach. "We mean no harm," she said, her voice steady, carrying through the small chamber. "We want to understand, to learn, to see what you've created." The lantern pulsed once, bright and steady, then dimmed. Kieran and Lyra exchanged glances. It recognized her," Kieran whispered. "Or her intent. Nothing else has come close to this." Ilara examined the device closely. Panels around the lantern were etched with alien symbols. Tiny conduits carried energy, humming faintly. And she realized the vessel itself seemed to breathe. In its own way, she reached out, hand hovering above the surface of a control console. The lantern flickered violently for a heartbeat, then steadied again. "As if testing her resolve," Lyra whispered. "It's like it's alive, like it's waiting to see if we're worthy." Ilara nodded. "And that's exactly what humans are best at, facing the unknown and pushing forward." For hours, the team explored the vessel, moving through corridors that seemed to twist and shift subtly, almost responding to their movement. The lantern flickered each time someone hesitated, each time someone considered turning back. And yet, every time Ilara led, every time she acted with confidence, the light held steady. At one point, they found a room filled with strange devices, dormant for centuries. Lyra crouched beside a console, scanning it. "This is incredible," she said. "The energy source here. It's unlike anything in human technology. It could power a whole colony for decades. If we can understand it, humanity could take a huge step forward." Kieran frowned. "Or it could destroy us if we touch the wrong thing." Ilara placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Humans are never the species that stops at fear. We proceed, we adapt, we survive. That's why we're here." The flickering lantern seemed to pulse in agreement, its light steadying further as if acknowledging her words. By the time they returned to the shuttle, the team was silent, each member lost in thought. The vessel's secrets were vast, but for now, the simple act of approaching it, touching its controls, understanding its rhythm, had been a victory in itself. Humans had proven something even the vessel seemed to recognize. Courage, curiosity, and persistence were not weaknesses. They were their greatest strengths. Ilara sat back in the pilot's seat, staring at the fading outline of the vessel as they pulled away. "We'll come back," she said softly. "And next time, we'll understand even more." The lantern's light pulsed faintly one last time before dimming completely, leaving the ship drifting silently once again. But for the humans who had approached it, something had changed. They had touched a fragment of a greater universe, faced the unknown, and emerged wiser, braver, and more determined than ever. Even as the shuttle moved toward the gas giant's orbit, Ilara knew the flickering lantern had not been a warning, it had been a challenge, and humanity, as always, had risen to meet it. The shuttle settled into orbit above Erindor 7, the gas giant's swirling storms reflecting against the viewport like living paintings. Inside, the crew moved silently, still processing the encounter with the drifting vessel. The lantern, that strange, flickering light at the core of the alien ship, had left an imprint on their minds. It had been almost as if the vessel had recognized them not as intruders, but as beings capable of understanding it. Captain Ilara Voss leaned back in her chair, staring at the display of the vessel's schematics. "We've barely scratched the surface," she said softly. "That ship isn't just old technology. It's a mind in metal and energy. And it wants us to discover it," Lieutenant Kieran Malik exhaled sharply. "Or it wants to trap us. We don't know what it can do, Ilara. That flickering light, it's not natural. It reacts to us like a living creature. But it could be hiding a trap." Ilara shook her head, a faint smile touching her lips. "That's exactly why we're going back. Humans don't shy away from the unknown. We face it, and we learn from it. That's what makes us, us." Dr. Lyra Chen was already preparing the shuttle for the second expedition. She scanned the vessel's energy signature repeatedly, her brow furrowed. If we approach the lantern again, we need a plan. It responded to emotions before. We can't let fear or hesitation influence it. If we stay calm and deliberate, maybe we can understand it better. As they suited up, a quiet excitement filled the cabin. Humans had always thrived in uncertainty. While other species might have left the vessel alone, cautious of its unknown nature, these humans were drawn to it, their curiosity stronger than their fear. That curiosity had carried them across galaxies, and it would guide them now. The shuttle glided toward the vessel, the blackness of space stretching infinitely around them. The flickering lantern pulsed as they neared, its light wavering in a rhythm that seemed almost like a heartbeat. Alara guided the shuttle carefully, keeping the engines steady as the team floated through the airlock. Inside, the corridors of the vessel were more intricate than before. The walls shimmered with shifting patterns that seemed to respond to their movements. Every step they took was mirrored subtly by the lantern's pulse. Lyra's scanner hummed quietly, analyzing the energy flow through the walls. "This ship isn't just sensing us," she whispered. "It's communicating in a way we don't understand yet. Every flicker is a signal, a question, a test." Kieran glanced at her, uneasy. "A test we don't even know the rules for." Alara moved forward with confidence, her hand brushing against the smooth surface of the wall. The lantern's flicker steadied, as if approving her touch. "Humans don't always need to know the rules to succeed," she said. "We adapt. We learn. That's why we're here." The team proceeded deeper into the vessel, discovering rooms filled with dormant machinery and panels etched with alien symbols. One chamber contained rows of crystalline structures, glowing faintly with stored energy. Lyra knelt, scanning the crystals. "This energy, it's unlike anything we have. It's stable, yet incredibly powerful. If we can figure out how to use it, it could change everything for humanity." Kieran's eyes narrowed. "Or destroy us if we make a mistake." Alara placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Then we proceed carefully. That's the human way. We assess, adapt, and overcome. Fear doesn't stop us, it sharpens us." As they moved further, the corridors began to twist subtly, almost as if the ship itself were alive, adjusting to their presence. The lantern's pulse grew steadier, brighter, as if guiding them. Finally, they reached a central chamber, where the lantern floated above a pedestal of alien metal. Its light was stronger now, illuminating the room with a calm, steady glow. Alara stepped forward, examining the pedestal. Tiny markings ran along its surface, symbols that shifted slightly as she moved her hand closer. "It's like it's alive," she said, voice low. "Not in the way we understand life, but in a way that senses, adapts, and judges." Lyra activated her portable interface, trying to decipher the symbols. "These patterns, they're more than language, they're instructions, responses. The vessel is teaching us, guiding us through its systems. It's waiting for us to prove ourselves worthy." Kieran shook his head, though there was admiration in his expression. Most species wouldn't dare approach something like this again. They'd assume it's dangerous and leave. But humans, we step forward. We face it. Alara nodded. "That's why we survive. That's why we thrive. Other species rely on caution. We rely on courage and ingenuity." The team spent hours in the chamber, experimenting carefully with the pedestal. Whenever they hesitated or second-guessed their actions, the lantern flickered rapidly, a reminder that the ship was watching, learning, testing. But when they acted with confidence and curiosity, it steadied, as if encouraging them to continue. Lyra discovered a pattern in the flickers. "It's responding to intention," she said. "Not just emotion, but purpose. It's testing whether we understand the value of knowledge, whether we act with respect and patience." Alara smiled. "Then, we show it exactly what humans are capable of. We proceed with caution, but also with courage." As they continued their work, the vessel began to reveal more of its secrets. Panels shifted, revealing hidden compartments filled with tools and devices. Some seemed designed to interface directly with the lantern, amplifying its energy. Lyra carefully studied them, her mind racing with possibilities. This technology, it's centuries ahead of ours. Whoever built this had a deep understanding of energy, of communication, of life itself. Kieran couldn't help but be impressed, despite his lingering caution. And yet it's waiting for us to understand it, not just take it. It respects knowledge, not force. Alara's hand hovered over the lantern once more, feeling the subtle vibration of its energy. It's teaching us, she said softly, not testing us to destroy, but to prepare. To see if we're ready to handle what it has to offer. Hours turned into the equivalent of days in the ship's artificial time, but the humans were relentless. They studied, experimented, and adapted. The vessel responded, its corridors shifting subtly to guide them, its lantern pulsing in rhythm with their confidence and curiosity. By the time they paused to rest, the crew had made significant progress. They had learned how to stabilize the energy conduits, how to interpret some of the alien symbols, and how the lantern's flicker could guide their actions. For the first time, they felt a sense of connection with the vessel, as if it recognized them not as intruders, but as allies. Alara looked around at her team, pride shining in her eyes. "This is what humans do best," she said. "We face the unknown, we learn, and we adapt. Nothing can stop us when we work together." Kieran, usually skeptical, nodded. "Even when the unknown is this extraordinary." Lyra smiled, her hands still glowing faintly from the scanner's interface. "It's incredible. We're making real progress. This ship, it's not just a relic. It's a bridge to knowledge, and it trusts us to cross it carefully." The lantern pulsed one last time as they prepared to leave, its glow steady and calm. For the first time, it seemed to acknowledge them not as temporary visitors, but as beings capable of understanding its purpose. As the shuttle departed, the crew looked back at the vessel, a sense of awe settling over them. They had come seeking answers, and the vessel had responded. It had tested their courage, their patience, and their curiosity, and they had passed. Alara leaned back in her seat, the glow of the gas giant reflected in her eyes. "This is only the beginning," she said. "We've shown it what humans are capable of. Next time, we'll go even deeper." Kieran and Lyra exchanged glances, their excitement tempered with caution, but also with the same unstoppable human drive. They had faced the unknown and had not faltered. The lantern's light, steady now, was a quiet reminder of the challenge yet to come. Humanity had met it with courage and intellect, and in return, the vessel had begun to reveal its secrets. And somewhere, deep within the heart of that drifting alien ship, the faint pulse of the lantern carried a new rhythm, one that resonated with the unmistakable signature of human determination. For the crew of humans, the journey was far from over. They had touched the edge of a universe filled with mystery and knowledge, and they were ready to take the next step. They would return, stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. For the first time, the alien vessel seemed to flicker not in warning, but in welcome. The next journey back to the drifting alien vessel felt different from the earlier ones. The human crew had grown familiar with its strange corridors, its flickering lantern, and its silent tests. But this time, a sense of expectation filled the shuttle cabin. Captain Alara Voss could feel it in the air, like the ship wanted them to return, like it had been waiting. The gas giant Arendor 7 rotated slowly beneath them as the vessel came into view, drifting like a quiet guardian in orbit. The lantern at its core pulsed faintly, but there was a rhythm to it now. It was no longer an unpredictable warning. It felt almost like a signal, something calling them back. Lieutenant Kieran Malik stared at the flicker on the monitors. "It knows we're coming," he said quietly. He didn't sound afraid this time, only thoughtful. "It's reacting before we're even close." Dr. Lyra Chen smiled as she adjusted her scanner. "Every time we've shown confidence and calm, it's responded with stability. It wants communication. It wants understanding." Her eyes glowed with excitement. "Today might be the day we find out what it truly is." Ilara kept her hands steady on the controls. "Then let's show it the best of humanity again," she said. "We don't back down from mystery. We learn from it." The shuttle docked, and the crew stepped onto the vessel once more. The corridors greeted them with soft glimmers of shifting light, more welcoming than before. The walls hummed faintly, and the patterns embedded in the metal seemed more vibrant, as if the ship had awakened even further since their last visit. The lantern's pulse grew steady as they entered the central chamber. It hovered above its pedestal like an eye of living energy. Ilara approached with calm confidence, and the lantern brightened in response. It no longer flickered with uncertainty. Instead, it glowed like it recognized her. Kieran looked upward, amazed. "It's practically greeting you," he said. "Like a living machine." Lyra stepped forward, turning on her interface. "Let's see how much it's ready to show us now." The symbols surrounding the lantern began rearranging themselves, shifting into new patterns. The pedestal beneath it glowed with gentle blue light. The air itself seemed to thrum, like invisible energy was flowing through the entire chamber. Ilara stood tall, unflinching. "We're ready," she said softly, almost as if speaking to the lantern itself. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the lantern flashed once bright, pure, and steady. A wave of energy rippled through the room. Kieran stumbled, but Ilara held her ground. Lyra gripped her scanner tightly, watching as new lines of symbols formed along the walls and ceiling. They brightened, creating outlines almost like images. "What's happening?" Kieran said. Lyra stared in awe. "It's showing us something. A projection. Or a memory." The glow intensified until forms took shape. Figures of light, tall and slender, appeared around them. Their bodies were made of shifting energy, and though their faces held no features, they radiated intelligence and age. The humans held their breath, watching, listening. The figures did not speak with sound. Instead, the entire chamber vibrated with a soft resonance, and the meaning flowed directly into their minds. Not words, concepts, understanding. Ilara stepped forward. "These are the creators," she said, her voice hushed. Lyra nodded. "Or an echo of them." The glowing figures moved gracefully, their motions filled with quiet purpose. They stood around a much brighter lantern, one identical to the one hovering before the humans now. It crackled with immense power. The figures touched it gently, reverently. Lyra whispered. "This wasn't just a light. It was a core, a heart." The scene shifted. A great city appeared, structures of metal and crystal rising taller than mountains. The alien creators walked among them, peaceful and advanced. Their technology blended effortlessly with nature. Their ships glided through the skies without sound. Kieran watched in awe. They were beyond anything we've seen. Their technology, it was pure harmony. The scene shifted again. The alien figures stood inside a massive chamber, facing another lantern. Larger, brighter, trembling with uncontrollable energy. The creators placed their hands upon it, trying to stabilize it, but even through the projection, it was clear that something had gone wrong. A sudden flash tore through the scene, and the projection darkened. The humans felt a faint tremor beneath their feet. "They faced a disaster," Lyra said softly. "Something they couldn't control." Ilara watched carefully. "And they built this vessel as a safeguard, a place for knowledge to survive." The projection returned, showing the creators placing the lantern into this very ship. They touched it gently, each one leaving behind a fragment of their knowledge, their hopes. Then the vessel drifted into the stars. Kieran took a deep breath. "This ship, it's a library, a test. They wanted someone capable of using this knowledge to find it. And it tested us," Lyra said. "Not for strength, not for weapons, for intention, for courage, for understanding." Ilara stepped closer to the lantern. It glowed warmly, as if confirming their thoughts. Before she could speak, the projection changed again. This time, a single figure appeared, smaller than the others, alone. It stood before the lantern, lifting its hands. The message that flowed into the humans' minds was clear: this figure was the vessel's AI. The Guardian, programmed with the last will of its creators. The AI's form shimmered. Instead of emotionless energy, it carried a sense of purpose, duty. It reached toward the humans, and a new wave of understanding flowed through the room. The humans gasped. The message was unmistakable. The AI had been alone for thousands of years, waiting, watching countless species approach, only to turn back in fear or fail its tests. No species had shown courage combined with patience. No species had shown curiosity combined with care. Until humans. Ilara's heart beat strong in her chest. She placed her hand gently near the lantern, not touching it but letting it sense her intention. "We are here to learn," she whispered. "We will treat your knowledge with respect." The lantern steadied into a warm, unwavering glow. Kieran stepped forward too. "We won't take anything by force. We want to understand." Lyra nodded. "We want to help. We want to learn your history, your science, your truth." The lantern released a gentle wave of energy. The temperature in the room rose slightly, and the walls shifted, revealing new passages deeper into the ship passages that had remained sealed until now. Ilara smiled. "It's opening the inner core." The humans proceeded carefully. The new corridors were brighter, their patterns more intricate. The air hummed like distant music. The lantern floated ahead of them, guiding them like a companion. "Look at this," Lyra whispered, running her hand along the panels. "These walls, they're storing knowledge. The entire ship is a database." Kieran examined something glowing softly in a recessed alcove. "What are these?" "Memory crystals," Lyra said. "Each one might hold a lifetime of information." They walked deeper until they reached a vast chamber filled with spiraling columns of energy. Thin streams of light drifted upward like threads of knowledge stretching into infinity. Ilara stepped toward the center. "This is it," she said. "The core. The true heart of the vessel." The lantern hovered there, glowing softly. The humans felt its presence like a warm breeze. For the first time, Ilara sensed something almost emotional from it, a sense of relief, as though it had finally found someone who could listen. But then, something changed. A faint tremor passed through the floor. The lights flickered. The columns of energy wavered. Kieran stiffened. "What was that?" Lyra checked her scanner. "Energy flux. It's unstable. Something's shifting deeper inside the vessel." Ilara didn't flinch. "The ship is awakening. It's old. It needs stabilization. It's trusting us to help." They moved quickly, following the lantern deeper into the core. The AI projection appeared briefly beside them, its shimmering form urging them forward. The deeper they went, the more unstable the energy became. The walls vibrated, and faint cracks of light pulsed like strained nerves. Lyra pointed at a broken conduit sparking faintly. "There. This connection feeds the core. If we stabilize it, the whole ship may settle." Kieran grabbed tools from his pack. "Then let's do it." Humans never walk away from a challenge. They worked together, Ilara guiding them, Lyra analyzing, Kieran repairing. The ship trembled, but the lantern's glow stabilized them. It pulsed encouragement, steady and strong. As Kieran closed the last connection, the entire chamber lit up with soft, golden light. The trembling stopped. The energy columns steadied. The vessel exhaled in a gentle hum, as if relieved. "We did it," Kieran said, breathing hard. Lyra wiped her forehead. "The ship trusts us." Ilara turned toward the lantern. "We've proven ourselves. What now?" The lantern released a final bright pulse. Images filled their minds. Not just the past, but the future. Human colonies lit by clean, endless energy. Ships crossing voids faster than ever. Diseases healed. Worlds saved. The lantern was offering them everything. Ilara felt her breath catch. "It's giving us access to its full knowledge," Kieran whispered. "All of it?" Lyra nodded. "Yes. Because it believes we can carry it." The lantern dimmed to a calm, steady glow. almost like a bow of respect. And Ilara whispered, "We won't fail you." The chamber hummed, welcoming them deeper toward the final truth of the vessel. A truth waiting for Part 4. The shuttle glided smoothly away from the alien vessel, its hull reflecting the soft glow of Arendor 7's storms. Captain Ilara Voss sat in the pilot seat, her hands resting lightly on the controls, though her mind was far from calm. The past weeks had tested every instinct, every ounce of courage, and every bit of human ingenuity the crew possessed. They had faced a vessel that was more than metal and energy. It had tested them, challenged them, and now, it had shared some of its secrets. The lantern, which had flickered with uncertainty at their first approach, now pulsed steadily, casting a calm light through the vessel's observation windows. It had guided them, judged them, and ultimately accepted them. In its quiet glow, Ilara sensed a promise, an unspoken understanding that humans were not merely visitors. They were learners, explorers, and perhaps even heirs to the knowledge hidden in the depths of the stars. Dr. Lyra Chen floated in the cabin, her scanner still humming softly. She had spent hours reviewing the data they had gathered, her eyes wide with wonder. The energy sources alone could power entire colonies for decades. She said, her voice filled with amazement. "The technology here, it's beyond anything we've ever imagined. We're standing on the edge of a revolution." Lieutenant Kiran Malik leaned back in his seat, arms crossed, a faint smile playing on his lips. "And to think, this all started because we didn't let fear stop us. Most species would have left that vessel untouched. Humans, we go forward." Ilara's gaze returned to the lantern, now glowing steadily, almost warmly. "We don't just survive by going forward, Kiran. We thrive because we face the unknown. We adapt, we learn, and we don't let hesitation define us. That's the difference." The shuttle adjusted its course, heading back toward the nearest human colony on Arendor 7. The crew went over their notes once more, carefully cataloging every discovery. They had mapped energy conduits, deciphered fragments of alien symbols, and even learned to manipulate some of the vessel's systems without triggering defensive mechanisms. It was proof that human curiosity, combined with careful logic, could solve problems that might have defeated an entire alien species. As the hours passed, the team discussed what to do next. Lyra's voice was quiet but determined. "We need to understand this vessel completely. Its systems, its technology, its purpose, everything. This is knowledge that could change the course of human history." Kiran shook his head slightly, a thoughtful frown on his face. "I know. But we also have to be careful. The vessel is advanced beyond comprehension. One wrong step and we could lose everything." Ilara looked between them, her confidence unwavering. "We proceed carefully, yes. But we do not hesitate. Humans have always faced challenges like this. Every step forward is a victory, and every obstacle is an opportunity. That's who we are." As the shuttle approached the colony, the lights of cities and spaceports twinkled below, tiny and fragile against the vastness of space. The vessel's secrets would be shared with others, but first, the crew needed to ensure that what they had learned could be applied safely. They began preparations to transfer energy samples and holographic records to the colony's research centers. Upon landing, they were greeted with awe and admiration. Scientists and engineers crowded around, eager to see the data, the recordings, and the technology. Lyra guided them through the scans, showing them how the alien systems could stabilize energy flows and power entire cities sustainably. Kiran demonstrated the interface controls, careful to highlight the precision and caution required when interacting with alien systems. Ilara watched from the side, pride swelling within her. Humanity had always risen to challenges that seemed impossible. Other species might fear or avoid the unknown, but humans approached it with determination and courage. It was that same courage that had carried them to the drifting vessel and allowed them to unlock its secrets. The colony leaders gathered in a secure chamber, eager to hear the crew's report. Ilara stood at the front, her posture calm but commanding. "We encountered a vessel of incredible complexity," she began. It was designed to test anyone who approached. Its systems respond to intention, emotion, and understanding. It is not just a machine, it is a guardian of knowledge. We have learned from it, and we have earned the right to share that knowledge responsibly. The room erupted in excitement and questions. Engineers debated applications for the energy technology. Scientists marveled at the design of the vessel's adaptive systems. Politicians and colony leaders recognized the potential to elevate human civilization to new heights. Through it all, Alara remained focused. "This is just the beginning," she said. "We have proven what humans can achieve when we face the unknown with courage, curiosity, and intelligence. The vessel has opened a door, and it is our responsibility to walk through it carefully, respectfully, and boldly." Days turned into weeks as teams worked together to replicate and understand the vessel's technology. Human ingenuity shone through every step. Machines were constructed to simulate the vessel's energy systems. Experiments were conducted to test the stability of the alien conduits. Every success was celebrated, and every failure was analyzed and learned from. Alara spent time with her crew, reviewing logs and discussing strategies for further exploration. The vessel responded to more than just intelligence, she explained. It sensed morality, intent, and cooperation. These are traits that define humanity. That is why it accepted us. Kieran nodded. Other species might have approached with force or fear. They would have failed. Humans, we have something unique. We face challenges as a team, with courage and purpose. That's why we survive and thrive. Lyra smiled, her eyes bright. And now, we have the tools to ensure that our colonies can flourish. We can provide sustainable energy, advance our technology, and explore further than ever before. The vessel didn't just give us knowledge, it gave us a chance to grow as a species. Alara looked out at the stars, the lantern's image still vivid in her mind. We've learned to face the unknown, to embrace it, and to emerge stronger. Humanity has always thrived when challenged, and now we have the proof. As the colony celebrated their progress, the team prepared for another journey. The vessel still drifted in the orbit of Arendor 7, its lantern steady and welcoming. They had learned from it, but there was more to discover. New questions had arisen, new possibilities opened, and the call of the unknown was irresistible. Ilara's voice was firm as she addressed her crew. "We've proven ourselves once. Now it's time to take the next step. Humans are explorers, humans are learners, and humans are capable of greatness." The shuttle lifted once more, heading back toward the vessel. The crew felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had faced tests, solved mysteries, and proven that courage, intelligence, and cooperation were traits that could overcome any challenge. The alien vessel was no longer a threat. It was a partner, a teacher, and a symbol of what humans could achieve. Inside the vessel, the lantern pulsed gently, a steady, reassuring light. It had judged them, tested them, and now, it welcomed them. The pulse seemed almost like a heartbeat, resonating with the human spirit that had met every challenge with bravery and wisdom. As the shuttle docked and the crew entered the vessel once more, they moved with confidence. Every step they took was guided by experience, intelligence, and courage. Every flicker of the lantern now felt like communication. An invitation to learn more, to discover further, and to push the boundaries of human potential. Alara paused at the central chamber, placing her hand near the lantern. It pulsed brighter, steady and strong, as if acknowledging her presence. "We've come far," she said softly, "and we'll go even further. Humans don't just face the unknown. We embrace it, learn from it, and grow because of it." The crew moved together, exploring deeper chambers, activating energy systems, and decoding symbols with growing confidence. They understood now that the vessel had not just been a test, it had been a teacher, guiding them toward knowledge and capability beyond what they had imagined. Lyra floated beside a glowing console, her hands working quickly. "We're ready," she said. "We understand enough to unlock the systems safely. The vessel trusts us, And we must honor that trust. Kieran nodded, his expression a mixture of determination and awe. This is what humans do. We face challenges head-on, with intelligence, courage, and unity. Nothing can stop us when we work together. Ilara's eyes shone with pride as she looked at her team. And that is why humanity will thrive among the stars. We don't just survive. We explore. We learn. We grow. And we leave a legacy that no obstacle, no unknown, and no challenge can ever erase. Hours passed as they worked, steadily unlocking more of the vessel's secrets. Energy systems stabilized, alien knowledge was decoded, and the vessel itself seemed to hum in approval. Humanity's ingenuity, courage, and collaboration had triumphed once again. When the work was finally complete, the crew gathered in the central chamber. The lantern's pulse was steady and warm, a symbol of their achievement and the bond they had forged with the ancient vessel. Ilara looked around at her team, her voice filled with quiet triumph. We have proven ourselves worthy, not just to the vessel, but to ourselves. We've faced the unknown, and we've grown stronger because of it. This is only the beginning of what humans can achieve. As they prepared to return to the colony, the vessel's lantern pulsed one final time, steady and bright. It had tested them, guided them, and now, it had accepted them. Humanity had faced the unknown and emerged victorious. Their courage, intelligence, and cooperation shining brighter than any star. The shuttle lifted off, carrying the crew back to their colony, leaving the vessel behind, but not forgotten. Its light had changed, steadied by the presence of those who had dared to approach, who had faced fear and uncertainty, and who had proven that humanity could rise to any challenge. Ilara sat in the pilot seat, staring out at the endless stars. We've learned, we've grown, and we've triumphed. The galaxy is vast, and the unknown is infinite. But humans will rise to meet it. Always. And somewhere in the darkness, the flickering lantern, once cautious and uncertain, shone steady and bright, a silent testament to the courage, ingenuity, and boundless spirit of humanity.